Okay, this is episode 403, Something Beautiful, directed by Dan Sackheim and written by Gordon Smith. And I'm Peter Gould, the co-creator and executive producer of the show.
My name is Luis Moncada. I play Marco Salamanca.
Hello, my name is Daniel Moncada, and I play Leonel Salamanca.
And I'm Gordon Smith. I wrote this episode. Gosh, the sequence is great. It's also one that makes me a little bit. Gives me a little bit of a shock to look at because it was such a bear to shoot this. We had a very short window of time to get it done. I mean, it was about 3 days of work, but we had to work on a walking lunch schedule because we were so far out and everything was daylight dependent, and we didn't have much daylight to shoot. It's all exteriors. So we were running against. I love that.
And now, was that intentional?
That was a happy accident. There was a packed truck of camera folks and shooting that, and they came back and they were so excited, like, "Oh, the hubcap hit the camera. We got to use it." we did. It was great.
There was discussion in post. The hubcap hits the camera. Does that break the fourth wall? Should we not use it? But it's too good. You can't not use it.
It's so visceral. It makes you feel it in your gut when it happens, you know? And Marshall did an incredible job. Marshall Adams, our director of photography. We had to shoot this through all times of day. And so he was fighting the light at every step of the process, but it all looks beautiful.
This is Dan Sackheim's second episode for us. Of course, the last one was Chicanery that he did with Gordon, and I think Dan was a little sad that he never got to direct, for whatever circumstances, never got to direct a Breaking Bad. But this sequence, I think, is Dan showing what Breaking Bad Sackheim style would be.
Yeah, I think so.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I think he had some fun with this. This scene was, he did an incredible job. He storyboarded it to within an inch of its life because he knew how tight the time was going to be. And we had a ton of meetings to kind of get it all done.
One thing that's tricky about this location, this is a location we've seen before on this show. It's actually not far from where the billboard was when Mike hijacked the truck. One thing you don't think about is you can see an awfully long way. Where's the crew? And so the crew has to move every time you're moving from looking one direction to the other. You have to move all the trucks. You have to move all the trucks and the tents, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, and they do it so well. It's like this just army will be like, all right, we're done with that setup, and then suddenly you'll just see
around.
Yeah, we're turning around,
and it's like
it happens very fast and it happens very efficiently.
Now, Gordon, are these guns really shooting bullets and causing those bullet hits?
They are not. They are not. This is a coordination with the special effects team. I think there might be a couple of VFX ones or just some VFX help to like make everything sync up. But this is all squibs. That car is squibbed up. It's actually, the transportation department had to find a car that we could squib to make those explosions. So they took I think it's a Dart, we didn't want to shoot up the 442. So they took a Dart and they made it look a lot like a 442 so that we could blow the hell out of it. We had a lot of people on the crew came up to me and were like, please tell me you're not going to shoot up the 442. And I'm like, no, we're doing something else. So, which we had to do. You know, we hoped that we wouldn't have to repeat any of this, that it was all going to go off. And it did. We got all of this in, all the shooting sequences pretty much in one, but there was always that risk.
Vincent was such a good sport. He had to get choked, he had to suffocate in the previous episode, and now he's sitting there. And of course, Michael. All these guys are doing just a wonderful job. Oh,
that was heavy right there. Weren't you sad to see Vincent go though? Yes. I was.
Oh, yeah.
I was man,
such a
not
good dude.
Vincent. Arturo,
no, come back.
This is one of those sequences that's tricky with on a commentary track because we could literally probably talk for an hour just about this one sequence. For those of you who are film buffs, I would take a close look at it and try watching the cuts. I would even turn the sound off once and watch the cuts because it's beautifully laid out and beautifully cut. Skip McDonald, of course, cut this.
And also that line there, the "Can I make the call now?" is pretty much the first line of dialogue in the episode. The rest of it has all been,
Gotta make it look real.
us seeing these guys doing what they do.
Gotta make it look real, I said.
Make the call before you pass out. What a bastard.
They're bad guys. Poor Nacho.
Michael does such a great
does.
job of this. Of course, we didn't really shoot him, so we had to. The zag.
But he had
So-
done
Wait,
a
that
lot
was
of
not
work.
real?
We tried to advocate for making it real, but we were shot down.
Yeah. We would have had to. This would have been the last scene of the season.
Right.
So it wasn't practical.
And?
What if I told you could turn this piece of crap into $4,000 for each of us?
So Gordon, why do you think Jimmy's gotten a bee in his bonnet about these Hummels?
I mean, well, in the last episode, he had a strange interaction with the guys at Neff Copier who offered him a job, and it seemed like offering him a job somehow set him off. But I think that was pretty much the end of it until, and he noted the Hummels at that point, but I think that was the end of it until Kim came home and actually was kind of nice to him. We kind of felt like the thing that was getting to Jimmy was people being nice to him or people loving him or accepting him when he feels like a piece of shit. Because at the beginning of the season, he gets the news essentially that the action that he took with the insurance adjuster at the end of season 3 inadvertently led to a chain of events that caused his brother to commit suicide. So he feels very responsible for that. And we felt like that the kindness and love shown by Kim would actually set him off and make him want to do bad, to sort of prove to himself that he's a piece of shit. And so this Hummel heist comes to him in the middle of the night in sort of a fever dream almost. And because he remembers, he recognizes them. He did some work with some of his elderly clients to recognize what Hummels have value and what Hummels don't. So this one stood out, and he noted it at the time. And now here he is with good old Mike Ehrmantraut, seeing if he can get a Hummel heist going.
And this is, to my great frustration, the only scene between Mike and Jimmy this season.
It is.
So,
it is.
So drink it in.
Yes.
Enjoy it. I love these guys together so much, but the story is keeping them apart.
Yeah.
And it's very annoying.
It's interesting though. They bounce off one another, and they bounce back, and they bounce off one another, and then we're hoping that that'll somehow start to fold together in a way, because we do know that each time they do, it has an impact for both of them.
It's the truth.
Not for you. Is there some problem I'm not seeing, like with the swamp?
And I think the thing that I get excited about the most is when the characters surprise us.
Yes.
And Jimmy is surprising here to me, and Mike is surprising too, because he's got a little bit of empathy here.
That line we just had, I'm sorry about your brother, which it feels like that's the reason that he ends up turning this down. He's done so many things for Jimmy, but he doesn't want to see Jimmy acting out because of the death of his brother. He wants him to kind of properly grieve in a certain way. Partially because I think, Mike knows what it's like to not properly grieve for a loved one, and what it does to you. So
These two guys, they are in strangely parallel tracks.
yeah. The great Jonathan Banks, giving those looks. But of course, Jimmy's not going to be deterred by just Mike not not being into it.
Oh, here we
here we
Now
go.
the story starts.
Oh no.
with these guys.
So what's it like walking in those boots? Are they comfortable?
You know what they are for the first hour? Then after that, it is not very comfortable. Trust me, it's very painful. Now when you put them on, though, you feel really good. You feel powerful. You feel like a superhero.
Find the bullet casing.
Yeah.
Oop. Empty.
You guys have to do so much towards like. I mean, we give you guys such spare dialogue. It's not a show. It's a show with a lot of people that don't talk a lot, but you guys probably talk the least, and so you have to convey so much just with your physical presence.
Yes.
But also not kind of making it, silent film acty.
I was, too robotic and
Yeah.
cheesy and shit,
Yeah, I love that look.
But
It's just so subtle.
It was years. It was years in between the Breaking Bad and when you guys came back for this show. Is there anything you had to do to get back into the heads of these two characters?
No. Nothing. No, we said in a previous interview that this guy and I, weirdly, we are the cousins outside of this. We can be out somewhere in the gym doing something, and he looks at me, I look at him, and we're like,
We know what we're saying.
all right, we're cool. We're cool. So now we don't kill people though, but
Because this
this is.
That looks nasty.
Makeup department did a good job.
Sherry did an incredible job.
Oh man, he looks terrible.
Yeah.
Sherry is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
His lips.
Yeah.
He's been in the sun so long, and the crack and then my skills. That's my medical skills
Yeah.
are showing here.
There you go.
This scene,
very
didn't it
cool.
remind you of the explosion we had in 301 Breaking
Sure.
Bad?
Sure.
When we did it. They didn't show it here. I don't know, maybe they didn't have time to show it, but before, it didn't not start like that. It was really, really small, and then push.
Oh really?
Yeah. Because how they had to light the car. Because it's, of course, that's our effects team is making that thing burn.
And that was me driving the vehicle.
And we were running to make sure that we could get that
Excellent.
shot before the sun went down, basically.
It looks
True.
it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I think these guys seem to really like fire.
Fire.
They like
Yeah.
they like blowing things. I'm getting people in the writers' room making fun of me because there's so much
No,
fire.
there's
so much fire on the show.
Fire is very cinematic.
I like fire. And here's This is Kiko's. Is this Kiko's first scene?
Yes, it is. This is our introduction to Viola, who is Kim's paralegal. She's finally kind of. We wanted to show that having the twin tragedies at the end. Well, not tragedies, but the twin accidents at the end of last season. Her breaking her arm in a car accident and Chuck's death had an effect in that she was making some changes in her life, and so. Kim, who had been very much a, knuckle down and do everything myself, has enlisted some competent paralegal help.
And Kiko is great.
Yeah.
She's just she's so alive in the scenes, and it's really, really. I would love to give her more to do.
Yeah, she's great.
That's part of one of the. It's one of the glories of this, but also one of the frustrations. We have such a great cast. You want to give everybody great things to do, but we don't. It's tough.
Yeah,
It's tough.
Kim, you have got to see.
but we do love Rex Lynn. And
Rex
Rex comes in and has a lot of fun. I think
Kevin.
with stuff that should just make him completely a windbag, but like. He never plays that. He just plays it like he really loves this stuff.
He's a lovable windbag.
Yeah.
These
my
models. This was Judy in our whole art department. Judy Rhea in our whole art department, and also Dan, because the way we had pitched this and the way we thought about it in the writers' room, this was one table with a lot of a lot of models on it, and Dan and Judy had the idea of putting them on these little platforms at different heights, and I think it just makes the scene because now Kim can wander through this quite a bit.
And it's so much more impressive and kind of makes a presentation of it.
This
God,
could
and
be
these were
me.
sorry.
I mean, I'm gonna ask about this, and it could be me being I don't even know. But why is she so overwhelmed with this? What happened here? She's just like.
Yeah. She's listening to the idea or the feeling that we were hoping for was that she's listening to this list of all the work, of all these like just line of bank branches. And it's sort of like, is my life going to add up to just opening bank branches all over the Southwest? Is that all I'm going to be doing from now until forever? Was that why I became a lawyer? Was that why I started in this job? And it kind of sobers her up because she'd been struggling to get a client like Mesa Verde, and she gets this big fish, and now she's kind of like, oh, this is what a big fish actually does for her, you know?
I thought, but I wanted to hear from the expert here, and I'm thinking,
It's interesting because there's a lot of room for interpretation here.
Sure.
But you can definitely something's going on with her.
Actually, you're right before.
Right.
Why don't you take a stab at it and then?
And
take it to the core. This is good.
this, of
Take
course,
it to the core.
this crazy sculpture.
Yeah.
Which we still have, and it's
What?
We do.
It's made out of it looks like it's metal, but it's actually mostly foam core with metal. It's just beautifully done.
Oh, this is cool, right?
The wonderful Joe DeRosa.
I was just gonna say that dude is cool.
Yeah,
man.
he's
he
great.
is good. He was really good.
He's an actual comedian too.
Yeah.
very
He's a
funny.
stand-up. He's really funny. But we the nice thing is that he doesn't, in this role, he doesn't play up any of the comedy beats.
I
Yeah.
did not know
Yeah.
until later. I think maybe
Yeah.
the podcast. I heard the podcast that he was a comedian. I didn't know.
Yeah.
He is a ninja. I thought this guy. You guys casted this guy based on his medical skills. I really did. When we were there live and he was doing all this shit, I was like, huh.
Yeah. No.
He did his homework.
He's terrific. And we did a podcast with him, and he just rocked it. We were just laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
He's so
he's
funny.
super funny.
I hear her.
But we have a long history on this show and Breaking Bad, of course, hiring comedians and people who are Bob.
There you go.
Joe, Bill Burr,
Hugh.
Lavelle
Lavelle,
Crawford.
yeah.
We just have a lot of people
You
who
guys-
don't have the chance to flex their drama.
You guys
muscles.
are funny.
We're funny motherfuckers. We're too funny.
You are.
You know
We're
what, my
total
guy?
opposite from the
When I
characters.
train people that tell me the same shit, when they see me on TV, they're like, "Oh my God, so scary." Then when they meet me and they're like, "You just killed it for me. You how can you be so mean? You're so this is cool right here."
Oh yeah,
This was I didn't even know he was. But this was really cool.
Oh look, ooh, damn.
That was really.
It's hopefully it's cool.
Back to remember when we did the first chicken pollos hermanos on Breaking Bad, same shit. When the lady says, "Can I help you?" Or when the lady was trying to move you from the table.
Oh yeah, and Sunset. episode
Are you guys
306.
done?
Go grab my bag and tell my staff. Jesus.
I think that was probably the first time we ever interacted with Saul Goodman. I think.
This?
That's true.
Not us.
Yeah.
Any of us.
That's
Breaking
true.
Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh shit.
Yeah. First time we ever interacted.
Let's hope there's more to come.
Oh,
Yeah, and this sequence was Skip did a great job sort of pulling this together. We had a lot of pieces, and it's very. We wanted to be very subjective and kind of be in Nacho's head as he's going through this, but we also kind of had to know what's going on. So figuring out how to trot the line between, between confusion on one hand and
This is also especially that's also a really radical, almost experimental cue from Dave Porter. The music is just crazy. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
You, Ayuda, come here. Help.
man. This is not.
Yeah,
This is not. You don't want to be in this situation.
And what he's doing here, we talked to our medical advice, is that if you get somebody who's got a gunshot wound in the sort of torso, lower torso area, one of the big dangers is perforating your colon. And if you do, you can actually, if you just sort of rinse off the wound and sniff it, if it smells like shit, then you're in trouble. You're in deep trouble, and there's probably then they'd have to dump him at a hospital, otherwise he'd die pretty soon.
He wakes up,
And
it's like,
now-
oh, I'm getting transfusion for Marco. Like, what the hell?
Got Salamanca blood now.
This was a kind of like a cool connection that for the first time we made with him, because we were never really in tune, trusted him like that, and it was a little bit of a
Leave a bullet in your shoulder.
connection there with him, a moment.
Yeah, but you're a giver, so you're just giving.
He gives a lot of bullets.
I am a giver out here, but in the show,
Yeah, it's true.
Marco, we just don't, something about him, we just don't trust him.
No.
We really don't. Remember the first episode, the previous episode, 402, when they showed up at the hospital with our uncle? And it was, they came with that bullshit. They came, and it was just, I don't know.
Well, he's a little bit, he is an outsider, and you got, had after your uncle tried to drown you and says family is all. Family you can trust, but outsiders have a little bit of.
You gotta prove yourself.
He can be close, but it's hard to get him too close.
But now he's got Salamanca blood.
But now he has Salamanca blood, so maybe
Now
you can
he's
trust him a
in.
little bit more.
It's the only thing that keeps him going now. It's all the Salamanca blood.
As we know in the next episodes, he becomes, kind of a vampire, and he hunts you guys down. No, sorry. That's a spin-off. That's our
He's
spin-off.
doing the sequel over
Yeah,
here.
it's Nacho Varga, Vampire for Hire.
Yeah.
It's a deleted scene. We'll see it.
It was filmed in Transylvania.
So can I be in that?
Yeah,
Gordon,
clearly.
because
Well,
how
once
it is.
he-
If you kill the head vampire, then
Right.
everybody dies. So I'm gonna be
Right.
hunted for like
Yeah, exactly.
so he dies, and cool, we're good. That was a cool little trick. And I watched it, and I was like, huh, really? I used to do that when my baby was young. I used to have the alarm in his room.
Yeah?
And I set it off all the time by accident. Just open the door and the fucking shit goes off. And that is pretty cool right there.
So cool.
I'm
He
ready to
goes
go
in.
fucking rob some shit. I'm ready to go put in some work.
And now we have, who did Jimmy get for his Hummel heist? Well, this guy.
Frank Ross.
Frank Ross.
Ira.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
So Ira, for Breaking Bad viewers, ran Vamanos Pest, where Walt and Jesse tent or cook inside tented houses for Terminator. What am I saying?
Extermination.
Exterminators. Thank you.
Exterminators.
They're not Terminators. That would be interesting, though.
We are
Terminators for
Terminators.
hire. They tent your house and turn you into a robot. Now, so
This set, we talked a little bit about in the commentary for the previous episode, but all the layout of the set had to be done for this episode.
Yeah.
And so it was a very interesting thing because we had to have Dan involved in it and Michelle, because both directors were shooting on the set, and there was just a lot of moving parts.
Oh, wow.
It came together very quickly. It was remarkable how this raw space, industrial space, became this office. And
So he's like, oh, he was not supposed to be there.
and here's Andrew Friedman,
definitely not supposed to be there.
who is just a very, very funny comic. I've seen him live any number of times, and he's really a blast.
Another comic.
That's true. That's true.
See, comics are gonna listen to this shit and they're just gonna be on this shit. All right, Better Call Saul, 5th season. We gotta get on this
Yeah.
shit. Call my agent.
I
I need to get an audition for this show. They like comics.
These guys are great, and they're
awesome.
It's good that he's so funny because this is a rare scene for us because there's none of our kind of regulars are in it. at all. So we had to kind of rely on these two guys to carry this sequence. But we did feel like when we were talking about it, you know, you kind of needed to see the particulars of how this all went wrong to understand why, you know, what happens in the next, at the end of it would happen. Cool. And I guess I shouldn't worry about spoilers. Hopefully people aren't watching the commentary track first.
They better not. This was also another element that was Dan had to deal with, that you guys all had to deal with in Albuquerque, was Frank, who of course played Ira on Breaking Bad, and we were really excited to have him back. He had a back injury, and so he wasn't really able to do some of the things that we had scripted, and we had to rework this desk so that there was a way he could physically get under there and without hurting himself. And so, it was a lot of last minute invention to make this all come together.
It is a very, very expensive.
Yeah.
You got in trouble for buying an expensive vacuum.
Yeah, you know, when your defense is it never loses suction, you've lost the argument.
I think that's true. It's very funny, Gordon.
He's like, hey, are you there? Oh.
Nope. You're sleeping in your office tonight, buddy.
Oh, I got a backup plan.
I think our original idea was that when we were coming up with this idea was that maybe he was having an affair with someone in the office and they were still there. But this seemed more pathetic and fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It started feeling like a French farce there.
Right.
And this, by the way, this glove thing, was this Dan's idea?
This was something that came up in prep because we were trying to make sure we understood why exactly it was that Ira didn't just run out past him or knock him down or something like that. Because the feeling was, if he left his glove behind. He can't do that and get his glove out, in which case he's left behind some evidence that maybe is going to lead to him. So it was a series of things. That was the big reason to see that scene, was all of the why wouldn't you just wait it out? Why would you need to call Jimmy? We just needed to sort of prove that all of his avenues were exhausted. If he wanted to get away undetected without having to just, assault the guy, because then if he assaults the guy, Neff knows someone broke in, and then it's going to start looking for what was stolen, and then he's going to so on and so forth. So
Come get me.
Pretty well, because I haven't seen this episode in a while, and then now that I'm starting to see new things, and that's what happens all the time with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. You rewatch it and you catch so many things that you didn't catch before.
well, good.
Yeah.
So that's always our hope. That they'll rewatch.
Everybody does that shit, on social media. How many people tell you that,
Yeah, they watch that. They watch the show 5 times.
It's the greatest compliment of all. Although I'll tell you, it makes us all nervous because we don't want to screw up.
Yeah.
And where's that pizza from, by the way? Is there a story there?
There is. That pizza is from Venezia's Pizza, which is the pizza that was thrown on top of. It was thrown on Walt's roof. And there's also a shout out to the fact that pizza in that sequence is not sliced. So we've played this before. There's another joke that's mentioned that Badger says, they don't slice the pizzas and they pass the savings on to you. So he orders it and has to specify that he wants the pizza sliced. So a little bit of a
Nod.
nod.
In the back. It's the way to go out.
And then we get Frank lurking in the background. There's a couple of split diopter shots in this episode. This is one of them. To get both the foreground and background both in focus.
I have such a soft spot for comedy caper stuff, lighthearted caper stuff. It's not totally lighthearted. There are high stakes here for these guys, but there's something about this kind of thing. When I was a kid, there was a movie I watched over and over again called The Hot Rock, that is, I think, a huge influence on me for all the. It's based on a Donald E. Westlake book, and Donald Westlake was just a wonderful writer.
Flippin' Jimmy, going to work.
Flippin' Jimmy, we know he's done this before. And again, I believe originally the pitch was typically in the room was that this car would be lit on fire.
Yeah, there was an original pitch of lighting the car on fire.
There's always fire involved. I don't know if you've noticed.
But we felt like that might take away from the we didn't want two burning cars.
That's right. And we also didn't want Neff. Weirdly enough, if Neff got hurt or if there was like some terrible damage to the place, it felt like it just didn't feel quite right at this point in the story.
Yeah, I think partially that was because, if correct me if you disagree, Peter, but I felt like there was a sense that if he was too that's awesome. If it's too mean to the guy, if he destroyed his car, then it feels like a vendetta against him personally, rather than
just
rather than a reaction to make some money. Exactly.
This was so tricky to figure out how the car was going to go back, and it's just making this feel realistic.
Yeah,
was just a huge.
Because the car had to, you can get into a car, but you can't. The steering wheel's going to lock, and every car past like 1974 or something like that. So.
Shitting gold.
Shitting gold. Ariel Levine, our brilliant writer assistant, wrote a whole song called "Shit and Gold," and it's on the wall of my office, and it's just wonderful.
Very funny.
The Salamancas were hit yesterday on the way back from their pickup.
This was a great idea that Judy Rhea, our production designer, had. We had originally thought this would be at Juan Bolsa's hacienda, but that location was way far out. So she's like, well, could he be the kind of guy that keeps horses? He seems like he's sort of, has that side to him, and from his costume and so forth. And so we said, sure. And this is right behind the studio, so we were able to build a horse paddock.
Everything happens behind the studio.
So we were able to do that rather than have to, send people out. We wouldn't have been able to make the schedule if we had to do that. So
and it's a wonderful thing because it is a schedule saving, money saving device, but it adds so much.
It does,
and it looks so much. It's so much more impressive and interesting than just watching him in the back patio of some house. So this really
expands
his
world in a good way.
It's terrific. Oh, Gus.
And this is the spot we did the revealing of Nacho, right, when we found him in the back?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we shot a bunch of the inserts and so forth for that sequence out there.
If they keep building housing back there, it's going to be really tough for us.
Yeah.
There's that.
Now, who's that voice singing?
This is cool. The Element song.
The Element song, Tom Lehrer.
I'm so into it.
It's so great.
And if you don't know who Tom Lehrer is, he was a comic writer of songs, and he was a big draw in the '60s, and he is still around. He's in his 90s, and he cleared us to use the song, and he wrote us a beautiful email about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and he is he's one of my heroes. He was actually a Harvard mathematics professor who also performed, and then when the '60s, when things started getting a little bit harsher, his comedy didn't seem to fit quite as well. But he is a remarkable talent.
Yeah.
And so everybody should listen to a Tom Lehrer album. And this song is actually one that Vince brought up on Breaking Bad for Walt to sing. And we've been waiting. So we've been waiting probably for 10 years to use this song. And this seems like the right moment.
Yeah, it felt like something for Gail, our lovely. And David Costabile is so great because he's playing a character that's gotten younger through the years, and all the rest of us get older through the years, and he plays him. You really buy it. He just feels like he's got this bubbly energy that he plays up and drops into just.
To check his or her.
And he plays a lot darker roles in much of his career, like on Damages and Billions and so forth. But he's such a charmer as Eager Beaver Gale here.
David is a brilliant actor.
Yeah, he's great.
He and Giancarlo together are just kind of magic. I want to see more Gale.
These samples aren't great.
He's put me in, coach.
Yeah.
They're not even good.
Yeah, he did. And what was great, he called. I talked to him before we shot this because he just wanted to make sure he understood. Like, okay, what's the backstory? Like, he really did his homework on. Okay, I know the future for these characters, but what's the past for them? What kind of relationship? And I feel like he really wanted to make sure that he was getting the tone where we wanted it to be, and he did. It was great.
And David went to great trouble because he was shooting billions, and he basically jumped on a plane and shot this scene and had to jump on another plane. He also, by the way, did a complete version of the Elements song, which is probably elsewhere in the digital extras of however you're watching this.
Who did this, David?
David does
David
the
did.
whole Elements
song.
song, and he's great. He does it in character, and he is great.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Let's put it on iTunes and start making
some
the
bank.
Right.
make some money.
Platinum, plutonium, palladium, promethium, potassium, polonium, tantalum, technetium, titanium,
Let's go back to cooking.
chromium, and curium.
That's great. I love the little flourish he gives. There's no one in the room, and he gives a little flourish for putting on his glasses. It's great.
You really think Kim is probably, she's a wonderful person. She's not necessarily the easiest boss.
Right.
Because she's such a perfectionist. I love the way Kiko is kind of watching her so carefully and loves her. When she gets approval, she just loves it.
Just walking around your law office.
You slept late.
Yeah. It took me a while to fall asleep.
Jimmy's in a good
Yeah,
mood.
He's in a good mood. His heist went off.
That's right.
He did some gold shitting. So
It's almost he gets a little bit of adrenaline rush even when it went wrong and he had to go sneak around and break into the car. He seems to get a little
kick out
lift
of it.
from it.
He's turning into Saul Goodman.
Oh, no.
Little by little.
No,
Little by little.
I don't know
man.
why you would say that.
Circumstances, He's a good guy.
He is.
Always with a
Well, he
cereal.
tried to be a good guy. He's been trying for a long time,
There's good and there's good.
Like us.
And now here comes this very controversial letter, Gordon.
yes, and I guess it is, but it didn't occur to me that it would be controversial. Yeah, so Kim has a couple of things to follow up with from her meeting with Howard. One of which is the disposition of Chuck's estate regarding Jimmy, and one of which is a letter that Chuck wrote.
Couple of things from talking to Howard.
And we didn't expect it to be anything other than, she was given a letter from Chuck, and she's delivering this letter from Chuck. It's sealed. There's no hint of anything else. But I think sometimes people think we're going to be tricksy with them, and so they try to anticipate if we're going to be tricksy with them. And so there was a theory that people started being like, so Kim switched the letter from Chuck. She didn't give him Chuck's actual letter. But we didn't really understand why she would do that at this point, or what her motivation would be to lie to Jimmy in that way, rather than to, because at this point what she's really hoping is to. He had a strange reaction at the beginning of this season when he finds out that Howard thinks Chuck committed suicide, and he realizes that's his fault. He has this kind of light switch that goes off on him, like, and he kind of goes numb to all things Chuck in a certain way. He stops grieving in a certain way that you would have expected from somebody whose brother just died. And that was the thing that we felt like would be most potent to see here, would be Jimmy's reactions to what really are going to be, Chuck's last words to him.
It's a pretty positive, nice letter that Chuck wrote. These two are so terrific together, Bob and Ray, and it was interesting because you guys, Dan, everybody shot. There was coverage in this scene. There's a lot of pieces that we could use, but we ended up really feeling like staying for a long time in this shot really felt right. And that's happened a couple of times this season where, the performances are just so good that you don't want to cut and kind of overemphasize any of the moments.
It kind of felt like it gave us the opportunity to bounce back and forth between them at our own pace. If we want to be checking in with Kim and see how she's reacting to this, we can. If we want to see how Jimmy's sort of dealing with Chuck, we can. And then we start to see her kind of... It was important to start to see her try to struggle with her emotions here.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. This is, by the way, a theory on the internet that she wrote a letter, a replacement letter. I don't know if she had written a replacement letter, if she'd be crying over it.
Yeah.
So, but that's
No,
okay.
she's-
That's okay. Anyway, that's okay. It's good. I love the fact that people put so much energy into thinking about it, and they care so much. God, he's good. He's just.
Sorry.
Like you said, he's just numb to it.
You know, but it's this gap between them on how they're dealing with this, that she's looking at Jimmy and seeing him so dead about Chuck, and it's painful. It's really painful for her to see. And then
Everybody deals with it differently.
yeah,
And this is,
but he's not dealing with it in a way that she would have hoped, and he understands the debt, but he can't feel something different.
what a terrific episode, man.
That was really, really good, man.
Good times.
It went by quick.
It did.
You guys are so great, and this
You guys
one
are
and
great.
the next one too. I wish you were on for the because you're so badass on the next one.
The next one.
Episode
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is some crazy shit.
All right. Thank you all
That
for
was a good
watching.
episode.
Thank you for watching the show. We really appreciate it.